All right, guys, some good news. I finally got that phone call I've been waiting for almost 20 weeks now. We have wheels. We've got wheels, so they're waiting down there at the supplier. So, as I mentioned in a previous episode, I have been waiting 20 weeks for them. That's nobody's fault. That is just the manufacturers. The way that they run their business is they'll manufacture a certain style of wheel, and then get them run out, and then do another style of wheel at that time. So they're not uncommon wheels. The style of wheel is pretty common for most cars that other people have run them, but the size is where the difference is. So we're running a 15 by 10 on the rear and a 4.5, I think it is. I'm not sure. It's been that long. So, but anyway, I'm going to dig the puck truck out right now, and I'm going to head off and go grab them. Pretty common wheel, torque thrusts. I think these are torque thrust D, is what they classify them as. But this is a 15 by 10. For the rear, obviously, and then we've got a 15 by 4.5 for the front. So, as I said earlier, these aren't going to stay this finish. We're actually sandblasting these, and we're going to give them a magnesium-looking finish without using paint. So, yeah, stay tuned to see what happens with them. So just opening these boxes to take these wheels down to go get sandblasted, and found this little present in there, little SoCal tyre gauge. That's nice of them. Little gift for I guess waiting for so long, and wheel nuts, which I'm guessing the rest of them are going to be in one of these boxes. So that's really nice. Well, it does feel a little bit crazy, sandblasting brand spanking new rims, but it's given it that rough casting look. That's what we need to achieve that magnesium finish. So I've got to get the tyres mounted up first before we do that. So we're going to be leaving the inside just that raw finish like that, and we'll get the tyres mounted up on it, and then we'll do the chemical process to try and make these look more of a magnesium rim.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, finally the day is here. I have been waiting forever to be able to see these rims and tyres come together and be put on this car. A lot of you know rims and tyres makes or breaks a car. It really does change the whole look of a car, having the right wheels and tyres on it. So I'm really pumped to finally have them all together. I've just picked them up from the tyre shop. So I'm going to go through and I'll show you what it looks like unfinished, and we're going to do my special juice on it.
That's what she said.
And try and make it look a little bit more magnesium. So, and then we'll bolt them on and try and stand back. I can't really get off the hoist right now, but I'll try and stand back and get a view of what it's going to look like with these rims and tyres on it. We'll jump straight into doing the process of getting these rims in the finished look that I'm trying to chase. So it's unlike paint. It's not a spray-on. Well, it is a spray-on thing, but it's not like paint where you just coat it and it dries. This stuff is designed to be almost a industrial style lubricant, but it has the color textures that we're chasing that sort of makes things look magnesium, essentially, or as close as you can to magnesium. I've seen rims painted to try and make it look like magnesium. It doesn't work. This is a flat finish. It almost looks like, as it does now with this sort of satin finish, but it's the color of magnesium. So fingers crossed that works out. We'll probably have to rub it down. I don't think it's going to change how much we put on it. I think probably is a case of less is more. So we'll jump in, we'll get all 4 of these rims done and get them on the car, because I really, really want to see them underneath this car and what it's going to look like. But the next problem we're going to run into is this wheel arch right here. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, this was actually cut a long time ago. This is actually bronze welded with an oxy. So yeah, I've relief cut it on this side. I don't think I've touched the other side. I can't remember right now, but I've relief cut it because when we're doing the panel work, I noticed that the outer skin was actually sucked in this point. They just obviously went to town with the heat, and it's all pulled in. So to chase a little bit more room underneath there, I sort of relief cut it and just made sure that panel was going to come back out. So we're going to have to clean up this and get probably a better radius. It's a bit all over the shop. It goes up and down and it's everywhere, but we've got big boy tires now to fit underneath there. So I'm pretty confident the tub is enough. We don't have to, you know, mini tub it or anything like that, or put an extra strap in there, but we will need to sort of pull this out just a little bit to give it the clearance that we're going to need to get that tire underneath. But regardless, for now, for this video, we're just going to jam it underneath there and bolt it on, just so we can see what it's going to look like when these are finished. So I'll get into these right now and we'll get them bolted up. You know, I probably should have got smart and actually did this before I put the tyres on, so I didn't have to mask up the tyres and everything, but you know, no matter. It comes off pretty easy off the tyres, so we'll just persist with it. And that's not going to help anymore. I thought if I got enough air out of it, it might actually drop a little bit off the bead, but that didn't work. So I might just quickly mask this tyre up, and then we'll do our coating. That'll do. It just protects the tyre just that little bit, because this is just a chemical, it's not actually a paint. So we still need to try and get in behind that bead on the lip of this rim and actually try and get a coating on that. Now I know it looks like a paint, it sort of applies like a paint, but it very much is not a paint. This stuff will actually wear off over time. It will have to be redone. But it is just like a liquid graphite. So it's once it dries, it becomes very slippery on your fingers. I don't know if you can see the sheen on that, but it dries really quick. And yeah, if we get a rag over here, you can see it sort of goes like a gunmetal grey look. Now, the more it dries and the more it sinks into the metal, it actually changes, so it won't stay this way. I know it looks probably a bit different on camera than it does in real life, but yeah, it'll start to go a little bit off color and change once it sinks in and dries. So I will keep you updated on how, I mean, you'll see it anyway down the track, what they look like. So you don't need much on to coat it. Make sure we get everywhere. I'll get you in closer here. Honestly, it looks a lot different on camera than it does in real life, but the more we, you muck around with it, it changes. It's a very sort of dusty material. It's a very odd material, so even just washing them down, like you can see there, it's got white marks and things like that. So the more we wash it down, the more it's going to change its look, but it's sort of like when it starts wearing off, it'll start looking more like a magnesium. I probably should have put that valve stem cap back on. That wasn't smart. Now I know at the moment it looks very patchy, but as I mentioned, the chemical will dry, it will change, and I'll be wiping this down time and time again. So as I mentioned, it will change. It's such a weird thing, but yeah, no, I'm happy with that. So you can see there the before and after. I know that's not going to translate too well on camera. It's probably going to look a little bit different, but as I said, this stuff, it will wash off. So I'm trying to just essentially just impregnate the alloy with it. So everything on the surface I want to sort of come off anyway, but you can see it's sort of messy stuff. Like just spraying it on the table here, you can see how much has sort of come through, and it's such a weird stuff. But essentially it is just a spray graphite. So I'm sure you guys can find something like that, but yeah, it will take some time for that to actually get its proper dull magnesium look. So I think it looks a lot better than just leaving them raw anyway. So already running into clearance issues just here. So it's only a little bit of interference that we got, so it's not that big a deal. I've got a lot of real estate in there that I can cut out. But I'm gonna have to think about this a little bit more, because I want to try and get this as symmetrical as possible. I know it's a little bit hard. This is actually a teardrop style opening that was in here originally, so it does look a little bit funky with that bit left down there, but you know, as you can see, this is nowhere near perfect. So I think this is the time to sort of go in there and just clearance it just a little bit. I don't care if it sits on the tire, and then we can come in and get a little bit more. And as you can see there, I've deflated this tire, as you saw when I painted it, so we've managed to wedge it on a bit. So that will travel back when the car comes down on the ground. So I don't want to cut too much out of that just yet. I think what I might do is bolt this on properly. The tire's deflated, so it's got a bit of give in it, and we'll get it down on the ground and just see where that tire's going to sit, because I don't want it too far forward. We might have to, if it is too far forward, which I don't think it will be, once it goes up it sort of moves back, but don't want to have to modify that suspension anymore. Crap, I hope it fits. Now that I got it down on the ground, having no air in the tyres helped because it's pushed into the tyre just here. I don't know whether you were able to see whether that actually does move back just a little bit as the suspension, because this is a leaf suspension, when it collapses it sort of does move back a little bit because the shackle on the back is designed to rock. So when it flattens out, it sort of moves back a bit. So I'm not going to get too far into doing these guards at the moment, but I do want to get it down to a point where it's relaxed on the suspension. So I will just clearance this a bit here and try and get some air in the tyres and try and get all the suspension sag out of it so we can get sort of a look at what it's going to look like, sort of tucked up underneath there a little bit. Unfortunately in this video I'm not going to be able to get this off the hoist. Just not possible at the moment. I don't have the room outside. So yeah, I'll give you a bit of a shot of what it looks like from the front with the front runner on and everything like that. But just quickly now, we'll just cut this off. Try not to take too much off here, just a real rough cut just to be able to get the clearance in for this wheel. And there's only a few times that I actually wish that I had a 4-post hoist so I can maintain the pressure on the suspension and be able to get underneath the car. But yeah, look, I tried. It's tight. It's definitely tight, but we're gonna have to open up that wheel arch on the inside there just a smidge, right up to the rail, I think, which is, you know, it's not going to affect anything really. And definitely going to have to pump out that guard. It's I don't think it's actually sitting on it. It's sort of hard to tell with the inside actually sitting on. But to get that tyre underneath there, I mean, look, let's be honest, that's a big tyre. So yeah, that little cut that we made actually worked out really well. I'm pretty happy with that, just as a rough cut. So, but that's the result, guys. Like, you know, it's hard to get the full perspective on what it's going to look like with it being inside. But as you can see, it's going to be, you know, tough going down the street with that front runner on it and that you know, that big boy in the back. But yeah, look, in another video we're going to have to dig into cutting out these wheel arches, cleaning this outside up, and obviously pushing that inside in just to get that clearance that you know, we're going to require to get that tyre rotating properly and bouncing on the suspension. So there is a lot more travel left in the suspension here, obviously because it's sitting on the tyre. The car's actually sitting up a little bit, but yeah, look, I think we got exactly what I was actually hoping for. So, you know, I think it's going to look real tough going down the street. So we're getting there, guys, we're getting there. So that's going to be our front perspective. Obviously we need to get the bar on there and everything, but once we've got pipes coming down underneath here as well, you know, you can still see the caliper from the front, you know, where the stock tyre sort of hides it a bit. So that's going to be the look we're going for. I think it's going to look really tough. I know, guys, I'm sorry I can't get it outside so we can see what it looks like from a distance and get a good perspective on it. Soon enough we will. But yeah, it's going to have to be on another episode. So sorry about that, but it's just the way it is at the moment. Well, there you go, guys. After 20 weeks, finally got these rims and tyres mounted on the car. Obviously, we've now found out that we've got clearance issues. You know, I was hoping to get away with the clearance issues knowing full well that when I mocked it up, I had actually this wheel and tire combination off another car to be able to put underneath here, but it's not real world. It was sitting on a prop to hold it up in place where I thought it was going to be. So it's never the same when you've got all the suspension geometry underneath it. So, and really for a DOT approved radial, there's not much available size wise that's close to this. It's not like I could have just got the next size down. There is no next size down. It really drops dramatically in size. So, I think this is going to be fine. It's not a massive amount of clearance we need to make underneath this car. I'm pretty lucky in a way. It's just, going to take an inch out. We'll give the tub an inch. It'll be fine. It'll be completely fine. So we'll dig into this in another episode and get all this outside all cleaned up and sealed up, and get the inside of the tub pushed in a little bit. And it's only going to need half an inch or so. So, we'll definitely get that into that in another episode. So, look, it'd be interesting. If you like my wheel and tyre combination, let me know. A lot of people probably would have gone, I guess, with a chrome Kragar or something like that. But I really sort of wanted an really old school looking wheel and tyre combination. So, hope you like it, guys. So, anyway, we'll get out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.